Welcome to Formula Friday, your weekly source for Formula One banter, hubbub, whatever you want to call it. I'm Nick. This is
Um,
Lewis. Let's talk some wheel. Sorry, dude.
no, you're good. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, we'll just start out by talking about the Dutch GP. First of all, nothing happened. Nothing happened at all. And I think
Nope.
that it's okay that we don't actually talk about anything that happened in the Netherlands for this
So
whole
just
thing.
on the Monza, right?
Yeah, on to Monza. No, go ahead though. Fill us in. What was qualifying all about? We'll find out more about it later. But my situation this weekend wasn't ideal necessarily for watching all the race and taking as good as notes as you did.
Yeah. So qualifying was actually kind of interesting. So there was a little incident right at the beginning. We had Lance Stroll spin out, and if you were watching practice at all, you would know that Lance Stroll also spun out in practice as well. So that was twice the mechanics have to rebuild the car for Lance,
Yeah,
and that kind of I don't know. It's a whole Lance thing. What happened was going into the last corner, he just took a little bit too much of the grass on the outside going into it on the high banking. Excuse me. And as someone who does simulation racing, and I'm sure you know too,
hmm
drivers try to make the corner as wide as possible. You try to take every little part of the track that's not part of the track to make it part of the track, if you know what I mean.
absolutely.
Like you want to make your racing line as wide as possible. And that kind of looks like what he tried to do, but it's also I don't know if it was just a lapse of judgment, if he was just pushing too hard or what, but yeah, it was an unfortunate situation for him in that situation after the mechanics just rebuilt the car and I mean, I've seen memes all week about like people working on cars, and then like it's like POV, Lance is the mechanic or whatever. It's funny, but it's also at the same time it sucks for Lance. That car obviously was good because later on into Q2, nothing really extreme happened, but at the very last minute, Alonso, Lance's teammate, pushed out Antonelli or yeah, did I say his name right?
Yeah, Antonelli.
Yeah. Pushed him out at the last second. So Alonso moved on to Q3, which is awesome. So that was pretty much the excitement was just at the last minute of or last seconds of Q2, checker flag's already waved, and here comes Alonso, and he pushed out Antonelli. So he moved on. And Q3, it was the normal, like just McLaren, Red Bull trying to set fast laps.
Uh huh.
Um, New lap record during that Q3 for Oscar Piastri. Set
Yes.
the all-time lap record there, which is insane.
Yeah, I think he did that in a 1 minute 8.6 seconds.
Yeah, I was writing it down, but then so it was Lando, then Oscar, and then Oscar beat again. It was like
Uh
they
huh.
were just that McLaren is so fast.
Well,
And
hell, dude. So Oscar 186, Lando 1866, Lando 1867, Max 1892, and then the rest is a bunch of 109s. It's crazy how there's such a small gap between
yes.
the entire top 10 basically. Like the entire
Yeah.
top 10 is all like Fernando Alonso, he qualified 10th. Spoilers, sorry. Uh
No, you're good.
but he was still less than a second off of the pace, which I get is a lot in racing, but all these cars are just so this late in this what's the word? Generation of cars.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah, I know what you mean.
they're really squeezing out the max potential of all of them and you can tell it on the track too.
Yeah. And like we are at the end of this life cycle for this car because in 2026 we do have new regulations, but yeah,
Mhm.
they are squeezing every little bit, and like you said, every tenth does matter. I think that's what happened to Lance. He was trying to get that extra tenth in that corner, and what sucks, but yeah, Fernando did get 10th where Lance did not do good. But then going down the finishing of Q3, we had Oscar, Lando, Max. It's I think that's the new botver. I think
Hamverbot,
that's Hamberbot.
Pia
And then
Norber,
yeah, and then all of a sudden you have Isaac.
which
I mean,
blew my freaking mind, dude.
me too. Where did that pace come from?
Like, you and I know we've talked about this just texting back and forth before. I've been pretty high on Isaac for a while now. Like, you know that.
Yes.
And he's made really steady progress just over the course of the entire year. And out of nowhere, it just spiked this last
Yeah.
weekend. And I mean, well deserved. I don't know if you're a V carb fan. How worried were you that there was going to be a just absolute tank in performance of that car after um I always I'm
Lauren,
bad at his name.
Mikey's.
Mekis went to Red
Yeah.
Bull and then V carb was forced to get another person.
I don't necessarily I wasn't worried about the tanking really. I assumed I feel like just as a V carb fan now, like you kind of just assume the worst for them. They're bottom mid tier,
Hmm.
in my opinion. But it feels like Isaac is pushing the car like no one has. Like Yuki hit push the car, and you got Liam who's trying his best.
He is trying his best.
But like you haven't seen performance like this out of an AlphaTauri driver or V-carb driver since AlphaTauri back when you had Pierre there. When Pierre got a podium at Brazil, and then he got his first maiden win at Monza, and then he got another podium at Azerbaijan.
Hmm.
And it was just, yeah, it feels like Isaac's the new coming of Pierre, and I hope I I I just yeah, I don't want him to get demoted. Um,
Let's hope that when you say he's a new coming of Pierre, it's in a good way because Pierre hasn't done great in Alpine. Alpine?
yeah, what is that? That could also be the car too.
That could also be the car. Anything else from qualifying you'd like to touch on?
No, but just finish out the top 10. You had George, Charles, Lewis. So you had the two Ferraris together, top 10.
Mhm.
Car looked pretty good. Then you had Liam, the other V carb driver, in eighth. Carlos, and then Fernando. I mean, it was nice to see in Williams up there in the top 10 again, and besides Albon, but that's my notes from qualifying. It was a nice the Isaac really kind of took it over for me.
Mhm. I think just based off of from the first half of the season to now, I think the two teams that have had the most obvious jump in quality of car in upgrades that have worked and everything, I think it's been V Carb and Aston. And I know
Yeah,
Adrian Newey is hands off until next season, but like between him getting on, like since he's gotten on, Aston has had a pretty obvious improvement.
yeah. I agree, and it's weird. I looked up this uh, FIA, the governing body over Formula One, releases all these documents for like every little thing from car procedure to post race, car procedure, pre race, your your curfew, all this documents they post. And one of the documents is car upgrades. And I looked after qualifying, I'm like, the SMR looks quick. It was after practice when Lance was P3.
Mhm.
And I think it was practice one, and they had no upgrades for this weekend. And it was really weird. Maybe just over the summer break, they just stuck both of the drivers in the simulator and didn't let them leave.
Maybe. Um, I had a few notes for qualifying that just a couple things that I just noticed. I know it's been a joke this season, the last couple seasons, that qualifying is better than the actual racing.
Yeah,
And I mean, it is on a track by track basis, right?
yeah,
Not Monza. Monaco is an example of that, where it's a really fun track to watch one car just go really fast and
yes.
see how fast they can rip
Ugh.
it. Zandvoort is the same way, but better than Monza because it's just a more exciting track. And watching Lando and Oscar trade fastest laps back and forth, I was at the edge of my seat just to qualifying, not just Lando and Oscar, everybody.
Yeah,
It genuinely, this is probably one of my favorite tracks to watch qualifying on, just because it is very much one of those you got to hit it right every single time type of tracks. And it really showcases the qualifying skills of drivers who do. Because as we saw, I mean, with Lance, Lance in his own right, he's a good driver. I know that's a really hot take, but just getting a little bit on the grass or a little bit on the paint, that can totally screw you up on a track like this. So I think it really shows how much control that the top 5, top 10 drivers have to do that.
Yeah.
Um, this might this is extremely premature, but after watching Isaac's qualifying, my initial thought was, is he the rookie of the year and will he end up at Red Bull next year? Um, I'm going to say yes to both of those, and I'm sorry. But if he ends up at Red Bull, I don't think it'll necessarily be his choice. But if it is, I don't think he should say no because it's going to be a new regulation set. Nobody knows what the cars are going to do. But having the prestige of being a Red Bull driver, whether, yeah, I get with the number 2 Red Bull curse, that kind of prestige. But even with that curse, all of the Red Bull number 2 drivers other than Danny Rick are currently racing. And the only reason Danny Rick isn't racing is because he doesn't want to anymore.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, yeah, I agree.
Carlos, I thought qualified very well. It felt like he found his groove, and there was something going on with Alex. He wasn't happy with their tire strategy.
Yes. I don't. It's like he was just not happy about the tire prep, and he was like every time. And I don't. It's weird because Albon is like the tire whisperer now.
He really
And
is.
so
He kind of took that mantle.
yeah. So I don't know if he was just angry about like the set of tires. If they used a scrub one, I didn't look into it, but yeah, I think that might have been it. Like using a scrubbed or using an old pair, or if it wasn't up to temp.
All right. With that, let's move on to our race. The actual race itself. What do we see there?
Oh, just normal race. Nothing too particular. But no, the um the first lap of the race, we had lights out and away we go, and we see the drivers go through that first corner, and it was tight battle, and they go through that little S's in the second part, and it was weird. You saw Max Verstappen hit this sand from the beach because the track's right next to the beach, and he went full. I don't know if you saw his onboard. He was full lock the other way and didn't lift at all.
I didn't see that on board, but just from looking back, that was one of the most insane saves that I have ever seen, because if it was anybody that wasn't Max Verstappen, they would not have made that stick and they would have been in the sand or in the wall. The fact that he was able to, and it's a real, you're going to hear this a lot from me today. It's a real double-edged sword. I'm a Lando fan. But that pass and that save was equal parts ballsy and incredible. I don't know how he did it. He's a freak. Max is a genetic racing freak. He's the only person that could have made that work. And I saw it was on Twitter. Somebody posted a video of their angle. They were in the grandstands right at that turn.
Okay.
And with how it was, they saw Max come around the corner, but then the wall blocked their view, so you had no idea if Max actually made it or not until you could see him come out the other side, just with how their wall was.
That's crazy.
It's got to be so crazy to see. It was. I can't stop gushing about it because that was one of the coolest racing moves I've ever seen. It was so cool.
Yeah, and like it was crazy watching because they always start with that helicopter or drone, whatever it is, and you just see Max on this inside, and you see him just get loose, and you see all this dust flying. You're like, oh my goodness! Like, and then you see him come up to this corner, which is a banked corner, and it's just like, there's no way he's not gonna make the stick. There's no way. There's gonna be contact. We're gonna see cars on the wall, yellow flag, and he makes it stick, and he makes a pass. It's insane.
And the fact that he could still come out of that and be second, I was so mad and I was so in awe at the same time. It was a mix of emotions watching that. And that was just lap 1. That was literally 2 seconds into lap 1.
Yeah, it was literally the start of the race. You're like, oh my goodness. Like I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notes on my personal thing just from the first like 5 laps. It is insane. But after that, you had Stroll and Gabriel Bortolato.
Bortoletto.
Sorry, Bortolato. I'm having trouble
You're
tonight.
good. It's just you got a little stuck in there.
Yeah, couldn't roll it. Stroll and Gabby made a contact, and it caused the end plate of Gabby to like come loose, because normally they're stuck at like an L. It was just coming loose on flapping, and it was I don't know. It reminded me of, I think it was Fernando or somebody at Coda a couple years ago, where they're like, "Oh, that's unsafe to drive, pit," and then like it was a big hubbub, and it's
Mhm.
like they're allowing him to drive, and eventually it came off and caused a safety car, like that end plate flew off,
Mhm.
and it was weird how they didn't make them pit for that.
It is interesting that they just kind of allowed that to happen, but I feel like I've noticed that a few times this season where a piece of the car will fly off and they just kind of let the stewards run out, grab it, and then
Yeah,
they just keep going.
yeah, I I, I agree. It was weird. Like it flew off on the front straight, and they're just like, "All right, go out there, we're gonna." But before that safety car, we there was a little bit of rain on the front stretch, and literally on my notes, people were talking about rain. Oh, it's gonna rain, it's gonna rain, and I literally put down lap 20, CCR. I want to know, have you ever seen the rain?
That's
Because everyone was saying,
yeah, I mean that
yeah,
was the narrative leading up to this whole race, and I think a lot of it was just everybody being starved for Formula 1. Fair. And I mean, who doesn't love a wet race? And a wet race at Zandvoort, my god, I can't even. But I understand I mean, I get it, and it's hard, it's always hard to predict the weather. Nobody could ever know. But even like the tiny little bit of rain, when that was starting to happen, Aston Martin had Lance come in and pit for hard tires. I'm like, what the hell are they doing? Why are you going on hards? Like right now, why not stay out and then get inters if the rain is,
yeah,
because I mean we were all expecting the rain to calm down. So the fact that he came in so early, but then I mean as the race went on, that was kind of the move, and Aston kind of cooked on their pit strategy.
yeah, because when Colapinto, Yuki, and Hulkenberg all pit and put on hards too,
Hmm.
and then Lewis was on the radio around lap 22 saying, I have to undercut to get closer. So they were already talking about the race strategy and everything.
Hmm.
And let's see. Uh, did Lewis pit then? I don't remember. I know
I
Charles pit,
can find
and
out in one.
right after. Oh, what?
I said I can find out in 1 second. Give me a sec.
No, okay. I was gonna say, because I have lap 22, he has to undercut. Lap 23, Charles pits for hards. And right on lap 23, there was a little bit of rain coming on that, what was that, turn 4, the little bank corner.
Hmm.
And like we said before, you guys squeeze every little tenth out, and I think Lewis tried, and just that paint was a little too wet, and it
It,
caused him to go under the wall.
it's what I talked about earlier, and I mean it's that kind of thing. And it's not that Lewis is a bad driver. This is just a track that really punishes you for making a slight mistake. Like there's just not a whole lot you can do with that,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
and it's just one of those things. The paint's obviously going to be slicker than normal asphalt or concrete or whatever. Just it's going to be less porous because the paint's covering it, so it's going to be slippery. It's going to be oily. But yeah, he just took a little bit too much of that and just went right on the wall. So
Yeah,
it it would be a bad day to be a Ferrari fan.
it would be. Lance came in at lap 8, and then Fernando came in at lap 18. So they put those hards on Lance really quick. And I don't think Lewis, because Charles came in on lap 22. I don't think Lewis had a chance to pit. I think they were banking on coming in later, because
Okay,
you know how Ferrari's pit strategy is.
it's very good. I think they
Oh,
were playing F
oh
at that
yes,
time,
for sure, for sure.
or W for wall.
Oh, I I am, all jokes aside, really gutted for Lewis. He's I wasn't expecting this to be an incredible season for him, just because adapting to a new car is never easy, especially a Ferrari that is so much different than a Mercedes. But
Yeah,
I mean, Lewis has gotten the Ferrari curse. Like, he's gotten a crash course, no pun intended, into the Ferrari curse. It is just,
Yeah.
it has been so heartbreaking to watch it. 'Cause I was expecting him to at least get a few podiums, maybe a win, and he hasn't gotten anything. Like, yeah, I know he won the sprint in China, but I don't count the sprint. Like, it's a
I,
race, but
it's a race, but not a race. It's not a race.
right. It's fun to watch. I think it's entertaining, especially because I'm a sicko and I just like watching Formula One, but
Yeah.
it doesn't count for anything. And I don't know, man. I am so sad for Lewis. I just am.
Yeah. I think one of the big reasons for him going over there was is potentially Ferrari for 2026 with the new regulations and everything.
Hmm.
But Ferrari's always cooking up something. They're always cooking up something every new regulation. And I was talking to one of my friends about this. It's the first half of the season is as a Ferrari fan is this is our year. We're gonna do this. Second, like the second part of the first half of the year is all right. Maybe what it just after regular. Well, we're gonna fix this. We're gonna fix this. We're gonna be good. And then after summer break, it's like all right, next year we're gonna be good.
Mm.
It's kind
This
of
is our
just
year.
this cycle. Yeah.
They really are the Dallas Cowboys of Formula One.
They really are. They haven't been good
It's a
since
blue blood team that's a classic team that everybody knows and loves. Everybody's a Ferrari fan. Seb even
yeah.
said it. And it's just they can never get there. They just
Yeah.
can't.
And I mean, I think they're one of the founding teams in Formula One too.
They are. They are they're the oldest team on the grid right now, I think.
Yeah, I think second oldest is Mercedes, but I could be a little bit wrong on that one. But yeah.
Mercedes by way of a billion different team names. Yeah, I think so.
Hey,
That or
there's
McLaren might be number 2 at this point.
still silver arrows.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, everyone's a Ferrari fan. They've been around forever. Dallas Cowboys have been around forever.
Uh-huh.
I like that comparison. I really do.
It's all just heartbreak in the end. I'm glad I'm not a Ferrari or Cowboys fan.
Yeah, I'm neither. My wife's a Ferrari fan though, so that sucks.
Oh, my dad is, unfortunately. I got my dad into Formula One and he picked Ferrari right away. And I'm like, oh no, are you sure? Are you sure? You want to join me at McLaren? It's fun.
I mean, you could join me at AlphaTauri or VCar. You get what you get, and you're just like, you know what? I'm okay with that.
I do hope that they can get their crap together, at least while Lewis is still racing. Because I honestly don't think Lewis has a whole lot more in him. And I'm not saying that as a knock on Lewis, but and I've
Just
said
age.
this, it's age, and I've said this for a while. I believe firmly in my heart that if 2021 would have finished the way that it was supposed to, that Lewis would have retired then. He would have gotten his
I
8th
can see it.
championship, and I think he would have retired there. And that would have been Lewis's F1 career. Then I think he would have gone on to do some really cool human rights stuff because that's just who he is. But
Yeah,
instead, I think that he was left unsatisfied with how 2021 ended, like everybody else in the world. And he just wanted to chase it. But then unfortunately, 22 was the new regulations, and he just could not get the hang of the ground effect cars for
yeah.
whatever
Well,
reason. It just didn't work for him.
is it more he gonna get the hang of it, or did Mercedes design a bad car?
I think it's a little column A, column B because in 2022, every team, Mercedes was the worst of it, the porpoising problem, where it was just like,
Yeah.
eventually that got designed out. But a bunch of other a bunch, I don't know about a bunch, but like other drivers, because the ground effect cars really kind of punished the people who were big on late braking into the apex.
Yep.
And Lewis was one of those, and Danny Rick was one of those.
Yeah.
Just the
Danny Rick was
classic,
the best, in my opinion.
exactly. Just the classic brake as late as you can and then crank it. But this regulation of car just doesn't do that well. So if you're used to racing a very certain way, you kind of have to untrain yourself to race in a completely new way under new regulations. I think it was mostly bad luck. And I do think that Lewis might have another win in him, but it's going to be next year under new regulations, maybe. And that's if the rumors are true and Ferrari just somehow nailed the engine regulations that everybody says they are. But I mean, everybody says that Ferrari and Mercedes have nailed the regulation every year. That's just kind of a thing.
Yeah. Cowboys are going to do it this year. They're going to go all the way.
Yep, this is the year. Another note that I had on the race, um, that Charles pass on George, that was incredible. When Charles left the track, let's see if I can figure out what lap that was. I wish I was able to take notes. My situation for
He,
the weekend, I didn't have my laptop on me, and I didn't want to take notes on my phone while I was watching the race because
he finally passed him on lap 9. Lando finally got past. Oh wait, that was over Max. Never mind. My bad.
I'm talking about Charles on George.
Yeah,
He lap by lap. There we go. I think he ended up having to give it back. But anyway, it was a situation where he did leave the track, but he didn't leave the track to pass. He left the track for half a second, and that set him up to eventually pass George. I believe that was lap 32. It was really good because it was another
yes.
situation where he was off the racing line completely, and he managed to stick it to the ground and make the pass, and it was beautiful.
Yeah, and it shows what kind of driver he is. I
It
mean,
really does. But while we're talking about Charles, I guess we need to bring up the thing that happened.
yeah, the one thing that happened on lap 53. This is my lap 53 notes. Charles Pitt, he put on softs. And then my next note is plan F, maybe plan G, possibly plan L. Oh no, Charles got taken out by Kimmy.
So, okay, what is your take on this? Admittedly, I haven't watched it back, and I should have before I even bring this up. But even when watching the race and sitting with it now, I don't know if that was necessarily Kimmy's fault. And he ended up getting a 15-second penalty for that. But I don't think Kimmy intentionally pushed Charles off. I think Kimmy just kind of bit off a bit more than he could chew. And the way the banking is, I think his car just kind of moved up on him.
It pushes your car.
Now, obviously the argument is made he shouldn't have even tried to do that in the first place, but I don't think if you're that locked in and you're as young as Kimmy that you're even thinking, "Hey, this car is going to shift up on me in this corner." I think he's thinking, "Hey, it will stick around the slightly lower part of this track."
Yeah, I agree. So on my notes, I literally put down Charles just came out of the pits. He had cool tires. There's plenty of opportunity to overtake in a lap. So like he didn't have to do it on that corner.
Mhm.
That
And
was my big
that's
thing.
fair too. I didn't have the chance to analyze it as deeply as I should have.
Yeah, I didn't rewatch it because like I said, I put on I cast it to my TV and I just have my laptop and I was just taking notes as the race was going on. So some of my notes are very scattered, but yeah, I personally think just from first observations, and I haven't really watched it since, he should have waited just because you see, especially out of that corner, turn 1, and then you pretty much have a line of sight to turn 4.
Mhm.
You could see them come out of the pit. So it's like you would see that red car, the very red car, like come out. You would, in my opinion, you'd be like, okay, cool tires. Let me just get right behind him and I can pass him.
Mhm.
Like not late break, try to Danny Rick it into the corner. I feel like yeah.
And I think that wreck is key. It's not the main key, but it was key in what let Hajar have the race that he did. Because, I mean, first of all, he did an incredible job holding on to fourth. Literally the entire race up until lap 64 when the other thing happened that we'll talk about later. But Charles was still on him. Charles couldn't make the pass, but I think a lot of that was also just Isaac making the car just being consistent. Like
Yeah,
Isaac clearly is very keyed in and dialed in on this track for whatever reason. It worked with him.
yeah,
And
he just put his car where he gonna get past. He was just putting it there.
that consistency is what ultimately led him to get P3 when we get to lap 64. Now, Lewis,
Yep.
here's why lap 64 makes me the most upset. It's not necessarily because I'm a Lando fan. It's that McLaren doesn't have mechanical issues. Lando hasn't had a mechanical issue in 7 years. If there's one thing that you could count on, it's death, taxes, and McLaren somehow building a tank that just doesn't break.
Okay.
Except for this one driver, this one time toward the end. And I don't realistically, no, I don't think Lando would have passed Oscar and won the race, but it wouldn't have caused a now 35, 34 point gap in the points.
Yeah.
I think that this race, that mechanical failure, we're going to look back on it and that's going to be what maybe cost Lando the season. And I'm being really Cowboys fan about this right now. There's still a lot of races left, I get that. But Lando's going to have to put on a masterclass for the rest of the season if he wants to catch up and surpass and win. It's really hard for me to feel like it's not a foregone conclusion at this point.
Yes. Uh, and not to rub too much salt in your wounds.
Okay, go ahead.
When I was looking up that document earlier,
Uh-huh.
so he smelled like, so to put it in perspective, for those listening, in the race, Lando was driving around P3, great race, or P2,
Mhm.
and he started to smell smoke. He's like, I smell smoke, something's happening. And next thing you know, they showed his onboard, and he goes, you hear the revs go, and then it goes, and there was nothing.
Mm.
So it seemed like an engine issue. So, Nick, as a Lando fan, how would you like to know that Lando has already used 4 ICEs and potential penalty coming up in the next race?
I don't like that at all. I really don't like that at all.
Yeah, so the documentation I was looking up from the FIA, Lando Norris has used 4 ICEs, which is internal combustion engine,
Uh-huh.
4 TCs, which is turbochargers, 4 MGUHs, the motor generator unit that generates electricity from the heat, the MGUK, which generates the electricity from the kinetic energy from the turbo, 2 ES, which is energy store, 2 CE, control electronics, and 3 exhausts. I think you get 2 energy stores, 2 control electronics. I don't remember how many exhausts you get. People are up to 6 and they're not a penalty, but you get 4 engines before you get a penalty.
You sure do.
And that, I believe that was an engine issue.
I believe you're right. I believe it was an engine issue. This sucks. I don't like this.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is the documentation from 29 through 31st of August, 2025. So I had to find the right up to date one. Yeah, it's not good.
But it is a double-edged sword. And I know there's that phrase again. Because of Lando's car blowing up, it let Isaac move into third and get his very first podium.
Yes, it did.
And let me tell you, that took the sting away a little bit because I loved it. I loved that he and that team, and they kept cutting to his team, like just the camera during the
Yeah.
last few laps of the race, and they were all like biting their nails, edge of their seat. I'm so glad that that team and that young team, um, and I say young as in like all those people they showed looked like they were younger than I am. But
Yeah.
the young team with the young driver, rookie driver, being up on that podium with Max Verstappen and Oscar Piastri, a future champion, a multiple time champion, and a rookie. That is a storyline that I subscribe to, and that's part of the reason I love this sport so much because things like this can happen. And watching Isaac in the cool down room when they were all talking, he felt so out of his element. Like you could tell it was
He
just giving
did.
off the vibes of like he didn't feel like he belonged there just being in the company with these two, but I mean he did. I mean, the fact that he qualified fourth and was able to maintain that fourth position. And I mean, I used to do league racing all the time and I've never been good at league racing, but I could finish decent as long as I just kept the car from the wall. It's
Yeah.
winning through attrition is all it is, and that is such a big, I feel like um underappreciated ability for a driver and a team and a car to have is just keeping it on the track.
Yeah.
Just being consistent, keeping it on, and running a race from beginning to end, and it paid off majorly for Isaac.
Yeah, and it wasn't just one of those fluke podiums either. It was a well earned, like you said, from the
Absolutely.
qualifying to holding off Ferrari and everybody. Just he I fully expected at the start of the race to see him drop back like a brick. It's just part of being a V carb fan. It's just okay, cool. We had that. Now it's time to
I mean, if you're
okay,
surrounded by
yin and yang.
Lewis, Charles, and Russell right behind you, you're like, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's just part of the yin and yang of I feel like of being a V carb fan. It's like, okay, we got something good. All right, time for something bad to happen. It's just part of it. But yeah, it was really really well earned, and it was a great race from him. I think he got driver of the day from the fans and was well deserved.
Absolutely, 100%. Well, with that, let's move on to our driver ratings. So we're just gonna do. I mean, it's very basic. It's nothing original, but we're just gonna do a quick, like 1 through 10. How do we think the drivers did? I feel like I was a little more generous than I probably could have been, but I really liked how a lot of these drivers raced on Sunday. So let's go ahead. We can just kind of bounce back and forth. Let's go in finishing order. So let's start with Oscar Piastri. What did you give Oscar?
Obviously it was a 10. It was a grand slam weekend for him.
It was.
Literally. A fastest lap pole, a race winner, led up like all the laps. It was just an amazing race from him. It was 10 out of 10. He never did a foot wrong.
I agree. Also 10 out of 10, and same reasons. Fun fact: did you know that's McLaren's first Grand Slam in 27 years?
Really?
Yeah. The last one was 1998 Monaco with Mika Hakkinen.
Mika? Yeah.
Yeah. And this is also McLaren's sixth ever, which is insane considering this team's been around since what, 1968?
Yeah,
Newer
they've been around
teams
a
have more
long
Grand
time.
Slams than McLaren does.
I think Max has more just by himself.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But yeah,
Yes.
that's a fun fact. Fun fact on Formula Fridays.
Obviously, Oscar's got a 10 out of 10. Let's move on to Max Verstappen. I
Homerism. Yeah, I went 10 out of 10.
Yeah? Why's that?
He didn't put a foot wrong, and the lap one save that he did was amazing. He had multiple restarts. I think even if he would have finished third, he still didn't put a foot wrong. I think he drove the car to his car to the absolute limit. I don't think the Red Bull is faster than the McLaren, but I think Max pushed the car as fast as he could, and for me, that's 10 out of 10.
For sure. I originally had him at an 8, but after having a little more time to think about it, I'm gonna bump him up to a 9. Um, he didn't win the race, but managing a P3 in this version of the Red Bull, at a home race and that lap one save, it was all incredible. I hesitate to give a 10 out of 10 because like he didn't win, but everything else about that was just really good. It was just really well done. It was great to watch.
Yeah, I agree on all those terms.
Isaac, what'd you give him?
A 10. I mean, that's a 10 out of 10. He outdrove the V carb. He got a podium.
Yeah,
I mean, a rookie season podium. How could you not love it?
it really goes without saying. Isaac gets a 10 out of 10 for me as well.
Yeah, there's no way he doesn't get a 10 out of 10 in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. What about Mr. Consistent George Russell?
It was a 5. It was an adequate race from him. Like, I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything great. I didn't see anything horrible. It was just
Not great, not terrible.
Yeah, not great, not terrible. Exactly what it was. But I mean, he didn't do anything wrong. It's just he didn't do anything great, and if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. I'm giving him a 7, and this is what I'm saying. I think I might have been a little too generous. I need to calibrate my ratings systems a bit. But I mean, same reasons though. I mean, it was a solid and consistent race, and finishing P4 after starting 5 is good despite the chaotic race. And I get that that only happened because Lando wrecked, but I mean, it's the same. Like, it's the same reason for Isaac. You know, like being consistent at a track like this, at a race like this. I think that's worth a lot. I think
Okay.
that's worth a lot, especially as we get further down the grid and we see how other people did compared to where they started. You know,
Yeah.
Alex Albano.
The tire whisper. I love Albon. I think he did really good. I think he drove that Williams really good today and or Sunday.
Mhm.
And I again another driver pushing that car to the limits, and I think he deserves everything for it. I gave him a solid 9.
I also gave him a 9. He started 15th, Lewis. Alex Albon started this race at this track that people complain about all the time, has just no bad passing, and he took a Williams from 15th to 5th. That's good stuff. I have that in my notes. That's good stuff.
That's good stuff.
That's good stuff. I love Alex Albon so much. He just seems like such a sweet guy, and I just want him to do well all the time.
Yeah,
Moving on,
I agree.
moving on to Ollie Behrman. Ollie is a driver that I've been high on since the beginning of the season. I He's disappointed me just because I was expecting so much more out of him, because I wanted every race of his to be like when he filled in for Carlos Sainz last season in that Ferrari. And we got a flash of that again this weekend, I feel. I and I know it's not fair to expect the Haas to do as well as the 2024 Ferrari, but
Mhm.
I mean, there's still something to be said about the driver, and he was thrown into that last season, and he still did really well. So the fact that Ollie got the Haas, starting from the pit lane, by the way, because
Yeah,
starting from the pit lane
I forgot about that
and
part. Yes, I
finishing
forgot.
6th, that's a career high, because I think when he raced in the Ferrari, he got what, 7th last season?
I think so.
So I'm giving Ollie an 8, and the only reason it's not higher is because he started from the pit lane, because they gave him new power unit elements, and a new power unit, new things on your car is going to make the car faster. So I think that had a lot to do with his gain, but I'm not saying that to disparage what he did or what he accomplished. I think that that also helped a lot, you know?
Yeah. I personally have Ollie at 8 because one, I had him a little bit lower, 7. But the starting from the pit lane was great. Also, I have him as a Haas at a 10 because Haas, I feel like ruined the strategy.
You think
They
so?
did not. They didn't. They okay. They did, but they didn't. Like it was very weird. Like I was so confused because that first caution came out. They did not pit and then everything, and then they didn't pit until let's see. I think it was lap 54. I have Haas finally pit both on mediums.
Hmm.
So they went that long without pitting, and I feel like they got lucky for the bunching up again. When Lando got taken out, or not taken out, when Lando his car took himself out.
Uh-huh.
But but I I think he drove a really good race. With that being said, though,
Right. Moving on to Lance Stroll. You might not like this one. You might not agree with this one. I'm giving Lance Stroll an 8 out of 10. He started 19th after failing to set a qualifying time because he, did the whole car crashing thing. So
yeah,
starting 19th, being allowed to race at steward's discretion, finishing 7th shows that again, Aston was kind of cooking with that hard tire strategy. I was not familiar with their game. I apologize.
yeah, me either.
But it also really just continues to prove to me that Lance can race when he wants to. It just feels like he doesn't always want to. And I'm not a Lance fan, but it's frustrating when you have an ability to race at a high level and you're just wasting it. Like,
Yeah.
you can say what you want about daddy's money, daddy's money. Lance can drive when he chooses to. And I'm glad that he chose to this weekend because, again, 19th to a top 10 finish in that Aston Martin, incredible.
Yeah. Uh, so I have him as an 8 as well.
Oh,
Uh, I think he did really good. Personally, I have him at a 7. I have the mechanics giving him an extra point because they had to rebuild the car twice.
mm-hmm.
But I think that he did a great job. I think that he's trying to get the most out of the car, and with Fernando, we see that the car actually has some space or speed.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, and I just think that he does have the potential, like you say. Uh, I just like these small mistakes here and there. It is very frustrating to watch him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I gave him an 8. I think it was a very good race for him from starting all the way back there, from mechanics rebuilding the car twice and everything. Very good race for him.
And moving on to his teammate Fernando Alonso.
I gave him a 7. It was a very solid, good race. It wasn't anything extreme, but yeah, I think it was a good race. Uh, he is pushing the car like Lance is. I think they're very equal on pace. I think that car is pretty well maxed out with both of them.
Mm-hmm. And I also, I, same thing, 7. It's a midfield Aston. He's shown considerable improvement as the season has gone on. Fernando is still Fernando, and he can take a tractor and still squeeze whatever he can out of that tractor.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, your boy Yuki Tsunoda.
I feel like we're agreeing on a lot of these, but yeah,
We
Yuki,
are. I thought it
which
was
is
going to be
fine.
like way more of a discrepancy.
I think there might be, hopefully later on throughout the season, and maybe as we go through this. But Yuki, good race. It's points finishing race for the second car and Red Bull. I
Mhm.
don't know what more to say. He's not finishing outside of the points. Question for you: is the bar that low for the second Red Bull seat?
I I think it might be. I think the
Yeah,
bar's pretty low for the second Red Bull seat. Just not anything against the drivers. It's just the car is very much built around Max, and anybody who's not Max has a hard time driving the car, even Max sometimes.
yeah. And I think even if Max is not winning the race, then I think the expectations for the second car drop even more. Because if
Mhm.
Max is winning the race, everyone should be like, "Oh, the second Red Bull should be up there on the podium too with you." But now that he's not winning races, it's like, all right, he's scoring points. We're good.
I think people are finally being a bit more realistic about what Red Bull is capable of, but also what Max is capable of, like, but in the other direction. Like this car being such a bad car, and Max being able to do what he's doing with it just highlights. I mean, I not that anybody needed it after 2023, but there's always that argument where it's like, oh, it's the car, not the driver. No, it's the driver. It's for sure the
Yeah,
driver.
yeah. I think now that we're starting to see much how we did with Mercedes, uh, that shine come off the champion. Like
Mhm.
you're like, oh shit, like they're a real team. It's kind of like a superhero lives on their powers. Like, oh wow, that's just a normal human.
Mhm.
And I feel like you're starting to see that shine coming off the Rebel. They're like, oh, they're just another team.
So I gave Yuki an 8 out of 10. I'm giving him what I'm calling the Red Bull tax, because he finished well in a car that's impossible to drive, so he gets an extra +1.
Oh, okay, +1.
So it's 7, but it's 8. You know,
Okay.
Esteban Ocon.
I gave him a Haas out of 10. But really, I gave him a 7. I
Mhm.
mean, he got points on a Haas. That's pretty good. That's better than what you would expect, really. I would
Can I
feel.
can I just say something quick?
Yeah.
I think people are still hospilled from 2021 and 2022 and 2023.
Okay.
But Haas has made pretty considerable improvements the last couple years. I wasn't surprised to find out how well Haas was doing at the beginning of the season. And that's the thing. I feel like everybody's just forgetting that Haas started the season pretty well and they've been doing way better than they have the last few years. But I still hear people talk about, oh, he did it in a Haas, but it feels very right where the Haas has been finishing with the two drivers they have. It feels like I'm not like pleasantly surprised, but I'm not like, oh my god, he's doing this amazing in a Haas because this isn't the Haas. This isn't this isn't Gunther's Haas.
That's very true.
Hmm.
It is a Gunther's Haas, and the thing with me with Haas, I kind of stopped not really caring. It was just as much as Gene Haas, the owner, doesn't want to pour money into it. It's kind of just like, okay, why should I cheer on this team that doesn't even get financial support from the owner?
Right.
That's my gripe with the team.
Hmm.
It's just an advertisement for him. It's just a car going around with a billboard.
That's fair. I would like them to be more, and it feels like they've slowly gotten more, ever since
Yeah.
Mazepin left.
Yeah, good old daddy's money.
I gave Esteban an 8 out of 10. Rounding out the top 10 with double points for Haas after starting 18th. I mean, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Franco Colapinto. I was very pleasantly surprised with Franco Colapinto. He finally managed to get a decent race in. He finished ahead of Pierre Gasly, his experienced teammate. I'm giving him an 8 out of 10. This is the best I think he's ever done.
Yeah, guys. He drove for Williams before this, right?
I think so.
Yeah, and he was all right. And then they replaced. I can't think of his name at Alpine before him. But yeah, I think he's doing good. That was a great race from him, especially being way ahead of Pierre. Jack Doohan. That's who I was thinking of.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think he finished way ahead of Pierre, who is experienced and is the race winner, and it's a 2-time or like a 3-time podium guy. He might have more potential than what I thought for Colapinto.
You think so?
Yeah, and it was weird because like I saw him in the Williams, I was like, it's not that good. And then they replaced Doohan with him. I'm like, okay, that's a very lateral step. That's not very vertical. And I could be wrong now.
Moving on to your other driver, Liam Lawson.
He's got a 5. He had a race. Nothing great.
It was one of the races of all time.
Yeah. If it wasn't for that Lando caution, he would have finished a lap down or more because he got his lap back. It was he didn't score points and it's bottom midfield. And he would have finished further down if the Lando wasn't out and the Ferraris weren't out. So yeah, I gave him a 5. I didn't think he had a great race.
No, you're right. I originally had him a little higher, but I've decided to settle on a 6 out of 10. I do think that he is thriving at VCarb, and everybody was way too reactionary about how bad he was driving at Red Bull, especially after, what's happening at Red Bull. It was a solid drive. And I know there's all those caveats, but we're still going back to that thing I said earlier, the whole winning through attrition,
Yeah.
He still finished the race. And I mean, it doesn't matter how he finished,
Yeah, I get it. He kept it clean. But like I said, he got lapped. Like, granted, this is a track where you will probably get lapped on. But yeah, I don't know. It just feels weird to give him anything more than a 5, in my opinion.
Carlos Sainz, I'm giving him, speaking of, a 5. But it wasn't all his fault that he got a 5, but we all know that Carlos can do better. And I get that there's always adapting to the car, but I feel like he should have adapted a little bit by now, especially after that qualifying he put in. It's really hard to justify him not doing as well as he is when we can compare him to Alex.
Yeah.
In the same car.
Yeah, and it's not like Carlos Sainz is just like a nobody. He was a Red Bull Academy driver growing up. He was a Toro Rosso driver, and I don't know. I gave him a 5. It was a very just. It was a race again. Yeah, as we get closer to the bottom, it's just, yeah, he was there.
Yep, I've got a
Nothing
lot of
exciting
those.
happened. Yeah,
All right, Nico Hulkenberg.
he was there. I
He
gave him
was
another 5.
same thing.
It's that kick Sauber. He's that car is. I just waiting for the Audi money.
Yeah. He did fine. He gained a few positions, which is what bumped him up to a 6 out of 10 for me. But overall, him and I mean, we'll get to this later with Bortoletto. Kick Sauber felt kind of anonymous throughout this entire race.
Yeah, I 100% agree on that take. Yeah, they were
Well,
there.
I guess we're jumping to because Gabby finished right behind him. I gave
I gave
Gabby a
him a
5.
5.
Yeah.
Yep, same here. They were there.
And honestly, this race really bummed me out because I mean, another rookie that I'm very high on. I really like Gabby Bortoletto. Like, I think I've even told you at one point, I think that he's got the potential to win a championship at some point in his career. Gabby has the stuff, and seeing him improve the way he has over the course of the season has just done nothing but reinforce that for me. So, watching him finish in 15th after what we know he can do, it just it hurt a little bit almost, you know? I really
Yeah,
want Gabby to do well.
but I think it comes down to the car too that we're seeing the
Mhm.
issue with, and hopefully, like once like I said, when Audi takes over that whole team, hopefully it's a lot better.
Mhm. Kimi Antonelli, I gave him a 4 out of 10. And I mentioned it earlier, I'm not sure there's a whole lot he could have done in that collision, but again, it's basically rehashing the conversation we'd already had. He could have placed the car in a better position to make that pass. And it's a similar thing to Bortoletto. We know what Kimi's capable of, but ever since Canada, it feels like that Mercedes has kind of taken a nosedive and Kimi has not been able to adapt to that, whereas George has. And I don't know if it's a confidence issue or if it's just that he's just so young and he just doesn't have as much experience as everybody else. But 4 out of 10 felt right to me.
Yeah. Well, you can also think finishing up school, getting his driver's license, anything else like a young kid would be doing at that age,
Hmm.
besides competing for a Formula One championship. I gave him a 2 out of 10. A
Whoa.
very low score, yes, but he got 2 penalties in that race. One for speeding in pit road, one for causing collision. He had a 15-second penalty at the end of the race.
Yeah, that's rough. It's a tough hang.
Yeah, it was very, yeah.
Although
Like
I
I said,
do feel like I feel like that 10-second penalty for hitting Leclerc was a bit extreme.
yeah, I agree, and I still think, personally, I think that was a bad move to make.
Hmm.
Like I that's the way I feel about it. I could be wrong, like, but I still think that you see a car coming out of the pits, they have cold tires, especially nowadays when they can't put the tire temps really high in the tire warmers anymore. So it's like you can get past him,
Hmm.
but it just make the move right away, and that's yeah. I don't know that I gave him a 2.
And now going to 17th, we have Pierre Gasly.
Yeah, Pierre, my favorite driver on the grid.
Hmm. Sorry.
It sucks. That's fine. He had a race. He had a I you know what? I originally gave him a 5. I don't know. I maybe a little bit lower than that because like I
Oof.
said, if everyone would have finished, like Antonelli didn't get the penalty and everybody else did not go out, he'd be in last.
Hmm.
And it's just it's hard. But yeah, I give him a 5 and maybe retrospect probably a little bit lower.
I also gave him a 5. He didn't do a whole lot with the race, and he even dropped positions in this race when other people it felt like everybody gained positions and he couldn't for whatever reason. He just couldn't do it. And I know it's more than likely an overall problem with Alpine, but it's still rough. It's really rough. It's a tough look for Pierre.
Yeah. It really is. like I said, race winner, multi-time podium in an AlphaTauri, and yeah, it's just that car must be really awful or something. I just don't know what's going on with them.
They're
You know
probably
what?
just tanking for wind tunnel time.
That probably is too. Or he hasn't been the same ever since he started growing out his mustache. If you look back at AlphaTauri, he never had a mustache. Maybe that's what it is.
I think you might
The
be onto
mustache.
something.
Yeah, the mustache is slowing him down.
Okay, now we got to go to the DNFs. Technically 18th. Lando. I
Oof.
I gave him a 7 out of 10. Hear me out. I don't think he did really well with what he had. He wasn't going to catch Oscar. I understand that. I did that. I get that. He did such a good job maintaining, and he was going so fast. He had the second fastest lap of the race. The mechanical failure, obviously not his fault. I'm not punishing him for that. What really gets me about Lando in this race is there were what, 3 restarts to caution? Well, 2 that he was a
Uh,
part of.
well, not kind of the one that he was out of. There was 1, 2, 3.
Right. He had every opportunity to take advantage of that and pass Oscar during a restart, and he just couldn't do it. And it sucks. And that's also part of the reason I gave Oscar a 10 out of 10 is with all those restarts, Oscar was still able to maintain first, which is, I mean, it's not hard to do, but it's not easy to do, you know? Because I get that you're in first and you kind of set the pace and you decide when to go. But the fact that Lando couldn't do anything with that really kind of bummed me out. So that's why I'm giving Lando a 7 out of 10.
I actually surprisingly went higher than you. I
Oh,
9.
whoa.
I think he had an excellent race, and I think not getting past Piastri, that's just part of, like, I think, as weird as it sounds, or not weird, hard as it is for you is here, I think the worst driver couldn't get past the best driver on that team.
Mm,
And
you're
I
right.
think that's how it is. And granted, I love McLaren because they don't do team orders, and I love them for that. I
Hmm.
literally have on my notes like opinions on team orders because I love how they don't do team orders comparative to uh, Mercedes back in the day, where they used Bottas as just, hey, swap.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think he didn't put a foot wrong, and if it wasn't for that mechanical issue, he would have finished P2. But it had an excellent race, which trying to keep up to Oscar, but just couldn't. But like I said, second driver finished behind the first driver.
Mm. I didn't like that, but that's fair. Charles, our sweet summer child.
I gave him a 6 because he had potential to do more. He didn't just have a race, so that's kind of my thing. 5, you just had a race.
Hmm.
6, he almost had like better. He could have done more, but he did more than just have a race. So I give him a 6.
I also gave him a 6, and that's mostly because he was he was consistent, he was good, but the fact that he couldn't figure out a way past Isaac, which says a lot about Isaac, but I think it also says a lot about him and maybe the Ferrari. But Charles being as talented and as experienced as he is, I feel like he shouldn't have had that much issue getting past a rookie in a V carb, you know?
Uh, yeah, but granted, it's Monaco. But I remember at Monaco, Lewis could not get past. I think it was Yuki in the AlphaTauri, and like he just could not get past him. Like he just put his car in the right spot, and that was Lewis Hamilton. I
Hmm.
mean, if you were going to figure anybody could make a move at Monaco, it would be Max and Lewis.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's who I'd bet all my money on. But
And
yeah,
speaking of Lewis,
ooh.
I
You
gave
know what?
him. Oh, well, go ahead.
I was say, you know what? I had him at a 5, but I think that wet paint issue would bring him down. I think he should be at a 4 because I think that was kind of a not a rookie mistake, just a mistake you don't make in the race. You don't go, "Hey, is this wet?" and then make.
It's certainly a weird I also gave Lewis a 4 out of 10. It's certainly a weird mistake for somebody like Lewis to make.
Yeah.
Like he knows better. And the fact that he I don't I don't know what it is. I mean, it's heartbreaking is what it is. It breaks my heart seeing Lewis struggle like that. But it was so weird. So unfortunately, I have to give Sir Lewis a 4 out of 10.
That's yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. I mean, that's just you don't go like, hey, is this wet? Or hey, is this hot? And then touch the fire. I mean,
Mhm.
you know better. 7-time world champion.
All right. We have a couple news items to hit on before we go to the
Ooh.
Monza preview. So let's start with what I think is probably the biggest news. Um, Colton Herta. He's leaving Indy and he's going to become the test driver for the Cadillac Formula One team. He quoted, "I'm incredibly excited to be joining the Cadillac Formula One team as a test driver. This is a dream opportunity and one I've been working toward for a long time. To be part of Cadillac F1's entry at such a pivotal time is something I couldn't pass up. My dream has always been to race in Formula One, and I see this move as a huge step towards that goal. For now, my focus is on giving everything I can to Cadillac F1, helping build a competitive team." I had a feeling that this was going to happen. Not specifically Herta. I'm a big Pato Award guy, but Cadillac is a gateway for American open wheel drivers to get into Formula One. And I don't mean that in like a disparaging way or a bad way. I say it as it feels like a way over the barrier. And like you still have to go through the European ladder. I get that. But the fact that he's still that Cadillac thinks that he has the stuff to move up. And I mean, this isn't I mean, Colton Herta, he raced on the European circuits before, just in much lower levels, but still, like he did pretty well
Yeah.
there. He obviously has done great in Indy, and I think this is a great move that eventually will lead into whether it's Valtteri or Checo retiring. I think Herta's the next man up at Cadillac. I really genuinely believe that. And not only is it going to be an American in the sport, it's an American with a good racing pedigree in Formula One. It's not another Logan Sargent situation. It's a guy who can do well in an open wheel setting. And I know Formula One and Indy are two very different beasts, but I I'm already setting my hype and my expectations for Colton Herta pretty high.
Yeah, yeah, I can see it. I think Colton Herta is the perfect choice for it. Back when Cadillac F1 announced their drivers, the CEO Dan Taurus was asked about it, having an American driver, and he said pretty much it's important to us make sure that there's a pathway for American drivers into Formula One, and we'll be working on that. But for the inaugural season, it's what the team needs, and for this was right for the combination for our team. Talking about their two driver pairings,
Hmm.
but I he's very vocal and very adamant on bringing Americans to uh Formula One, which is awesome because they do have the Andretti backing, which I forgot which Andretti it was. Was it Marco or Mario? Was really good in Formula One.
It
I
was
think
Mario.
Mario. Yeah, and
Yeah, he was in the Lotus 88, that incredible car. One of the first cars that introduced ground effects. They had to outlaw it because the Lotus was so good.
yeah. But yeah, so it's awesome to have that American backing. That's not Gene Haas just going, hey, here's money to put, you guys, here's your budget for the year. That's it.
Mhm.
It seems like Andretti and Cadillac actually have a desire for Americans to be in there, for their car to be good, and to potentially be like I think it'll be the first ever American constructor to win a championship if they can do it.
Yeah, yeah, I think you're right. I am I'm just really excited for the future of Cadillac, and honestly, I'm a McLaren fan. I think I might kind of be a Cadillac fan too. I'm gonna buy in early. I'm gonna like them both. I mean, I already like both of the drivers for Cadillac. I like what they're doing, and it just
Yeah.
feels like that this is finally the missing link that Formula One needs to finish breaking into the American market. Because Drive to Survive, I mean, I'm a DTS baby. You're a DTS baby. I
Yep.
started watching at the beginning of the 2021 season, which, by the way, What an introduction to Formula One. Having 2021 be my first season of Formula One, incredible. I'm never gonna get that high again. But it feels like that this is finally gonna be it. Like, it's never gonna be as popular as Indy or NASCAR in America. It's never gonna be that way. But I think it will help keep growing the sport in this country in a high or a more consistent way than it has been.
Yeah, yeah, 100%, 100% agree with that. And fun fact, my first season was the 2020 season when there was a COVID lockout, so I didn't get to
Oh,
watch half of it. And then the first race I did watch was the Austrian Grand Prix, which Lando got his first podium.
mm,
So that was fun. My first F1 experience was Lando, which was a great race because Lewis Hamilton had a penalty and Lando had to push as hard as he could. And that's back when you can use the overtake button as much as you wanted during the lap. And he had his
mhm,
engineer going, use it now. Like, oh, use it now. Like, oh, it was awesome. But anyways, uh, for me, Cadillac, I want to be a fan. I really
mhm,
do. But in my heart and my soul, I'm a Ford guy. I own F-150. I've been a Ford guy my whole life. I'm an AlphaTauri Red Bull fan, and they're going to Ford, which
mhm.
Cadillac is GM. Ford and GM have been rivals, like, the American team. So it's kind of weird for me to root for a GM product again. But like, it's so hard not to. This team
Mhm.
has so much potential. It's so good. They have the racing pedigree with Andretti. They have these two drivers that are championship winning, like been on championship winning teams. They're doing every step correctly.
I think if you're an American, it's okay for you to also like Cadillac. I think that's just should just be stated right now. You have your first team, but I mean, you're always gonna love Cadillac, you know? Like, I
Yeah,
think that should just be
everyone's a
allowed.
Ferrari fan. Everyone in America should be a Cadillac fan,
Exactly.
just slightly.
So I had alluded to this a few times over the course of the show. I um I was in Chicago over this last weekend. My fiance and I we went to go see a show. And she had been to Chicago a bunch and she loves that place and she wanted to show us I think it's the Chicago Tribune building, old newspaper building. And it's a really cool building because it has a bunch of pieces of other buildings from all across the world kind of embedded into it. That's not what I'm getting to here. What I'm getting
Okay.
to is Thursday night when we got in, we were on our way to this building, and right in front of it was, I could tell, a Lego Formula One car, like full scale Lego F1 car. And I'm like, what is happening here? And then I look at the signs, and starting the next day on Friday, it was one of those Lego F1 experience things.
It's so cool.
And I was trying to, because the car was covered in a tarp, so you couldn't immediately tell which car it was.
Okay.
And then I got to a different angle, I could just kind of walk, like it's obviously roped off, but I saw the back of it and it was the Red Bull Lego car. So I'm like, listen, I know we have a full itinerary, but can we please, if we have time, come to this tomorrow because I need to see what this is all about. I just need to see the Lego F1 car. So sure enough, the next day, we get up, we go, and when I say it's an experience, it's a whole experience. They had the car uncovered, and they
So are you going to like putting your job application for the Red Bull vacancy for T principal or the Visa Cash App Raceable vacancy that's probably going to happen or whatever?
I'll probably go to V carb. I think I can just,
Well, eventually, yeah, eventually you'll get demoted to Red Bull,
yeah,
but
get get my toes wet in the lesser team first.
yeah.
But no, it was a really cool experience and it was totally unexpected. And by the way, that car was the exact one that they raced at Miami. And I was talking to one of the guys there, and they don't know anything because they're just, it's a job.
Yeah.
But scattered throughout the country and different cities, they had the different cars. And I think it was all happening that same weekend at the same time. And
That's
I just
cool.
happened to be in Chicago when the Red Bull was there. So it was just a really fun experience. The line took forever because it was one of those things where you had to like scan a QR code, then getting a line to get into a line. And it was a lot and it kind of sucked up most of the day. I really love my fiance for being very cool with all of that because she had a whole list of things she wanted to do that day. So thank you. I love you. It was awesome. I loved it.
I'm so jealous because I was in Chicago be a month ago, like next week, so whatever. And I didn't get to do any of that. I got the Chicago trap.
It was awesome.
Uh,
And the last bit of news that I want to touch on before we preview Monza is actually Monza related. Ferrari is running a special edition livery. And James Hunt.
and yeah, and
Wow,
James
way to
Hunt.
leave out the McLaren driver. Interesting.
Huh, weird. Sorry, I was more interested on Nicky Lauda, the guy who God gave him as a great ass or whatever. Sorry for cursing, but whatever the quote was he said in the movie
Hmm.
to listen to a car. But yeah, he was a great driver. He had a horrible crash at the Nordschleife, the Nürburgring, burnt, and then he became advisor to Mercedes, where Lewis Hamilton was, and he passed away not that long ago. But yeah, for Lewis Hamilton to win in this car would be amazing. For Nicky Lauda, just that connection itself would be amazing in front of the Tifosi, in front of their home crowd.
Hmm.
I think Italy would be nonstop partying for a week. It would be like they won the World Cup again.
There was a stat that I saw, and granted, this was on Twitter, so take this for whatever. But somebody figured out that the last time Charles won at Monza, 9 months
Yes.
later, there was like what 9,000 new people born 9 months after that race.
Yes, it was like 400,000 people. Like there was a 7% increase in like population there. I think if Lewis Hamilton wins in this car, might see the same thing happen.
I think you're right, and I just like you said, it's one of those stories and storylines that are so good that it needs to happen. Like, it almost feels like it's fated. The universe wants this to happen as bad as I think I do, and honestly, deep down, most Formula 1 fans want Lewis
Yes.
Hamilton to win this race at Monza in this car. It would
Yeah.
cure so much, I think.
Yes. And just another point to point out how much Nicky Lauda means to the team, Mercedes, they still run a gold star for Nicky Lauda.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I believe one of their stars on their car has always been gold for Nicky Lauda.
That's incredible.
It's just he was such an amazing guy. He was uh, some people would say he was very mean or very aggressive, but he knew what he wanted and he wanted to get the best out of people.
Absolutely. It's very much like, and I'm not making this comparison on driver ability or personal ability, but just from vibes. It's vibes. This is a vibes based comparison. Um, it's very much like Max Verstappen to me. You know,
Yeah.
like very much the people think he's aggressive, but really he's like a nice guy. It's just when he's on the track though, it's very much locked in, focusing on this. We're doing this right now.
Yeah. I agree. Sorry, I was wrong about the star or the thing. It's not gold, it's red. But
Oh,
yes. Go ahead.
okay. And still, that's really cool. I love that.
Yeah, I was getting mixed up between the gold T hoop or the T cam.
Fair enough. And now it's time to preview Monza. Monza. Oh, well, first, let's play a game. You want to play a game, Lewis?
Let's play a game.
First of all, can you tell me which driver has the most pole positions at Monza
Active or all time?
all time?
Ooh. I'm gonna say a Ferrari driver. I'm gonna say Niki Lauda.
Oh, interesting. Lewis Hamilton.
Really?
Yeah, Niki Lauda has 2.
Oh,
Lewis has 7.
damn.
Yeah. Which constructor has the most pole positions at this track?
I want to say Ferrari.
You would be right.
Okay,
Finally,
good.
Lewis, which engine has the most wins at this track?
Cosworth.
Ferrari.
Oh, wow.
You see what I'm saying?
It is Ferrari's home track. It is the sea of red. It is the pinnacle speed. Or not pinnacle speed, but it is the track for Formula One. I love it. It is my favorite track of all time. Behind me is a poster dedicated to Monza. I love this track with a passion.
Mm-hmm. It's an incredible track. This is one of my favorite tracks and races of the entire year. Not only was it where I witnessed my first McLaren win in 2021 with a Danny Rick. Granted, I get that it only happened because Lewis and Max got into it, which is also an insane side story of that race. But I love a good fast track. And this is a really fast track with just 90-degree corners, and then it's more fast. And a little part of me wishes that they'd run the OG layout with that insane bank. I understand why they can't, and I'm glad that they don't. But a part of me really wants to see it because it would be really cool.
It would be so bumpy.
It would be so bumpy.
It would be insane. Also, I believe when they ran that old layout, the front stretch now was part of the track, and then where the pit road is also part of the track.
Mm.
So it's kind of impossible to run it. I'm sorry to crush your dreams there, Nick.
You're not sorry at all. You like it.
I'm
You
not.
like crushing my dreams.
I do. It's fun.
So last year, Charles Leclerc won the race, Oscar got second, and Lando got third. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a similar finish at this race. Although I would like Charles to be replaced with Lewis, and I would like Lando to get second, and maybe the engine thing happens to Oscar this time.
You sound a little salty on that one.
I'm not salty at all. It's fine.
If I had to put money on it, I think McLaren has 2 of the 3 podiums.
Yeah, I think you're right. All right. That's Monza. As we wrap up, let's play another game. This is what we are going to call Grid Gamble. So every week, I will roll a dice because I'm a nerd and I just have a bunch of dice laying around.
Me too.
Is the formula dice right here.
Nice D20.
It's Ferrari red. It is a D20. One number is representing each driver. So every week, I will roll for both Lewis and myself, and whichever number we get, that's a driver that we are adopting for the next race. And wherever they finish is where their point total is the point total that each one of us gets. And at the end of the season, whoever has the most wins. And they don't win anything. It's just a little friendly, fun competition, you know?
Okay.
So, Lewis, would you like to go first or would you like me to go first?
I'll go first. You know what? I'll go first. I got this.
All right. You got the formula dice.
Please don't be here. Please don't
Rolling
be
it
here.
now.
Please don't be here.
You rolled 20.
Oh no.
20 is not Pierre.
Yeah.
You are rolling with Gabriel Bortoletto. Oh, don't sound so bad.
Yeah, but out of all the potential I could have had,
I know.
that's what it's like. Oh, I got him. Okay, he's gonna have another race.
And
Granted,
let's
I said that about Isaac and the V carb itself. I thought they were just gonna have another race,
true.
but I was way wrong.
All right, my turn. Who am I going to get? 13. I'm getting Esteban Ocon.
Ooh,
I don't know if I like that.
hey, at least we got comparable drivers.
That's fair. Well, this first grid gamble is going to be a close one.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I got Gabby and you got Lando. I mean, we got comparable drivers.
Say thank you to the Formula Dice.
Thank you, Mr. Dice.
And we will wrap up by giving a few predictions each for the race. We're going to do 2 regular predictions and 1 spicy prediction, bold prediction, whatever we want to call it.
Okay.
So, would you like to go first? Would you like me to go first?
I will go first. First prediction. I already said it. I think it's McLaren going to be 2 of the 3 podium finishes. Reason for that, I think they are obviously the fastest car, and if Lando does have to take a new engine and everything, he will start from the pits, but he'll have a new engine. I think he'll be fast. And Monza does have a thing for causing cautions,
That's true. You're right.
so he will have a way to bring it back up. And just the way Monza is, Pierre Gasly got his first win at Monza, and he never pit that race because he had a red flag, and under red flag you could change tires, yada yada yada. He ended up winning that race. Amazing race. I was literally edge of my seat, and then I finished the race on the floor. I don't know how I got on the floor, but I was sitting on the floor. It was a great race.
Fair enough. My first prediction is drum roll, please. A Gabriel Bortoletto top 10.
Ooh, okay. I'm okay with that. For my
I know I'm working against my best interest here, but I think that he can do it, and he's going to bounce back, and he's going to bounce back hard here. Gabby's going to get a top 10 at Monza.
Okay. That's very. I don't want to say that's safe. That's a very good bet. I like that. So my turn now.
It is your turn.
I think I'm trying to figure out how I want to put this. I think Aston Martin finished both in points. I think their car is good right now, and it looks fast. And granted, I don't know how they are like completely in a straight line, and Monza is very straight line. There's a couple turn or corners. There's the so you got the turn 1 chicane, then you got the Curva Grande, you got another chicane, you got Lesmo 1, Lesmo 2, you got that downhill underneath the tape or thing, then you got the Ascari straight, and then you got the Curva Parabolica. So I mean, it's very. I think that car could be good, and I think as long as Lance doesn't make a mistake.
You're really banking on a lot there. Although,
Yeah,
I mean, sometimes Fernando be messing up too.
yeah, that's true. But I think this track, especially through Ascari, you one little mistake and that sausage curve is going to get you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they don't have the sausage in there. Oh, so good.
Yeah, okay. My second prediction. I don't like this. I don't like what I'm about to say. Lando won't finish in the top 5.
Ooh. Reason. I would love to hear the reason for this.
I love Lando a bunch. One of the reasons I love Lando is that he very much wears his heart on his sleeve, right? And I like that in a driver, in people. I like people who aren't afraid to just show their emotions. That doesn't always work well in this sport, and Lando has shown to have confidence issues sometimes.
Okay.
And I think that I know this is probably very stupid because the McLaren is very fast, but I don't. know if Lando. I hope he does, but Lando's confidence might have taken a hit after what happened with the car.
Yeah, I can see that. He's not as like stoic and just straight faced as Oscar is.
Oscar is on a completely different level. I don't understand it.
I think that's one of the reasons I like Oscar more than I do Lando. Is Oscar, he wins a race and he's just like, yeah, good job, team. Yeah, good job.
Oscar very much is the second coming of Kimi Räikkönen.
Thank you. Someone else, like, I've thought that for so long, but like you can't just say like a Formula One champion and then just like a guy who's in his like second or third season. Like it's it's hard to say that, but now that somebody else has said it for me, I can actually vocalize. I agree.
Listen, I think it's completely fair to say that even if it's not this season, Oscar Piastri will win a Formula One championship. He'll win multiple.
Is he? I got a question for you. I'm sorry I didn't put this on the outline. Is he already the best Australian F1 driver of all time?
Probably.
He's better than Mark Webber.
Yeah, he is. He's better than Danny Rick.
Yeah, it sucks to say. Yeah, I think he is better than Danny Rick.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I thought that literally it was a shower thought this morning. I was like, huh. Well, like I was trying to think of any other like Australian drivers, and I couldn't really because Liam's Aussie. I think Duhan was he Australian?
I don't remember.
But yeah.
I
Anyways,
mean, Liam Lawson is from New Zealand.
yeah, he is a Kiwi, so that's
All
all
right,
right.
let's
Bold
round
prediction:
it up. What's your bold prediction?
Ferrari DNF.
Ferrari DNF, like double?
No, just one. I think one of them is going to DNF. I think their luck carries over. I think a lot of pressure on them in front of the Tifosi. I think they're going to try to make a move, and I don't see it paying off.
Holy crap, dude. That is.
Hey, you said bold. It's bold.
No, you're right. You're right. That is a bold prediction. My bold prediction, I've already alluded to it. Lewis Hamilton is going to win this race.
Oh, it's the complete opposite of mine.
I know.
Kind of.
I have no reason to believe it'll happen other than I think the universe wants it to.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you said, it's the perfect setup for it.
It really just does feel like it should happen. So, I mean, it probably won't. But it really, like, what a story, you know? Just what a story.
It would be an amazing story, and I would not be upset about it one bit.
I don't think most people would. All right. That's going to do it for Formula Friday this week. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for letting us banter, talk wheel. I've been Nick.
I've been Lewis. Sorry, I didn't know what we were doing.
No, you're good. We'll figure it out. I also don't know what I'm doing. But we'll talk next week. We'll do a rundown of Monza and more. So until then, I don't really have a good way to sign off. Enjoy the race.
Adios.